Hey folks, and welcome to Mindlitter's 10 Things You May Not Know About the 1973 movie American Graffiti. Number 1. The film's director, George Lucas, grew up in Modesto, California, a place known for its lively car cruising scene in the late 1950s and early 60s. This local pastime strongly influenced American Graffiti, as Lucas wanted to recreate the thrill of driving classic cars through small-town streets on summer nights. Lucas's own obsession with cars during his teen years shaped his fascination with youth culture and hot rods. Although a near-fatal car crash his senior year of high school changed his mind about becoming the race car driver that he wanted to be, that brush with mortality heightened his appreciation for the bittersweet transitional moments between high school and adulthood. By infusing American Graffiti with details from his own adolescence, Lucas gave the film an authentic lived-in feel. From the slang and music to the casual banter and roadside encounters, it all flowed from personal recollections. That deep connection to his past ultimately made the film resonate with audiences far beyond Modesto. Number 2. The film initially had a different title while still in the script writing phase, which was Another Quiet Night in Modesto, referencing his hometown, before settling on American Graffiti. He liked how it implied leaving one's mark, capturing teens' restless energy on the cusp of adulthood. The title stood out at studio pitch meetings, veering away from overly nostalgic labels. Securing funding proved a challenge as Lucas faced skepticism after his first feature-length film entitled THX 1138 essentially flopped, and studios doubted a film about teens cruising small-town streets would sell. Only Francis Ford Coppola's backing, fresh off The Godfather, convinced Universal, though the budget remained tight and support was limited. Even with Universal on board, doubts lingered. Executives worried about the unknown cast in the 1962 setting. Coppola appeased them by promising to cover cost overruns if needed. The film ultimately triumphed, proving Lucas's heartfelt look at youth in Americana could win audiences despite early studio misgivings. Number 3. Although American Graffiti is set in George Lucas's hometown of Modesto, California, the production team couldn't secure permission to shut down the necessary streets at night there. Local officials worried about noise and traffic disruptions, especially since the film's plot required constant cruising scenes. The crew briefly tried shooting in San Rafael instead, but merchants there also complained, forcing another move. Eventually, they found a welcoming atmosphere in Petaluma, a small city about 35 miles north of San Francisco. Petaluma's officials were more open to overnight filming, and its downtown streets had the perfect look to stand in for Modesto of 1962. This unexpected location change brought unique challenges. Petaluma's layout required some creative maneuvering to capture the film's cruising routes, and street closures still had to be carefully coordinated to avoid angering residents. In the end, the result was so convincing that many viewers never suspect American Graffiti was filmed anywhere but Modesto. Number 4. Mel's Drive-In is actually a real California-based restaurant chain that had become a cultural staple long before American Graffiti was filmed. Founded in the 1940s, its neon signs, car hop service, and classic American fare exemplified the idealized era of cool cars and rock and roll that George Lucas sought to capture. The filmmakers specifically used Mel's Drive-In on Mission Street in San Francisco for interior and exterior shots. The restaurant's distinctive architecture and bold signage fit the movie's nostalgic mood well, helping transport viewers back to 1962, adding to the film's authenticity. Mel's Drive-In became so tied to the film's identity that fans today often associate the entire chain with American Graffiti. Sadly, the Mission Street location used in the movie later shut down, but the chain, although scarce now, does live on today with around a half-dozen locations still in operation and some newer branches popping up every so often as well. Number 5. Mackenzie Phillips, who played Carol, was only 12 years old when production began, turning 13 on set, making her the youngest principal cast member in the film. Her real-life youth added authenticity to her mischievous banter with Paul LeMatt's character, John Milner. Despite concerns about the age gap, her spirited performance became one of the movie's most memorable partnerships. Because of her age, Phillips's schedule had to comply with child labor laws, a challenge for an almost entirely night-shoot film. Production juggled her limited hours to maintain continuity while preventing overtiredness. This careful time management added tension but also fostered camaraderie as the crew supported her need for rest and schooling. Phillips recalls learning the ropes alongside more experienced castmates amid roaring engines and neon-lit streets. She adapted to the demanding night shoots, wowing everyone with Carol's sassy comebacks and fearless energy. The experience was a baptism by fire, launching her career and linking her to an iconic coming-of-age film. Number 6. Several now well-known names auditioned for roles in the film, yet didn't get hired. For instance, Nick Nolte auditioned to play John Milner but lost out to Paul Le Mat. Despite Nolte's potential, Lucas thought Paul's rugged, streetwise appeal better suited the character. Jeff Bridges also tested for a role, with Candy Clark recalling seeing him at auditions. Comedic figures like Michael McKean and David Lander reportedly tried out too, though they weren't selected for a part. These near castings show that even as an underdog production, American Graffiti attracted a number of promising talents. It's fascinating to imagine how different the film might have been with these other future stars in the mix. Number 7. John Milner's 1932 Ford Deuce Coupe is one of the film's standout visuals, instantly recognizable for its chopped roof and vibrant yellow paint. This striking hot rod added a level of authenticity to the cruising culture and became a legendary symbol among car enthusiasts worldwide. Keen-eyed viewers will also notice a subtle nod to George Lucas's earlier work on Milner's license plate, reading THX 138. This Easter egg references the film THX 1138, Lucas's sci-fi debut, weaving a small part of his filmmaking history into the nostalgic streets of 1962. Harrison Ford's character, Bob Falfa, drives a black 1955 Chevy that previously appeared in the lesser-known road film Two-Lane Blacktop. Its growling V8 engine and menacing appearance create an unforgettable presence for American Graffiti's climactic drag race. Number 8. One somewhat unexpected hurdle involved with the cast was convincing some actors to adopt authentic early 60s hairstyles and attire. For instance, Harrison Ford refused to cut his hair short for the part, prompting the production team to allow him to wear a cowboy hat in most of his scenes to hide his longer 1970s locks. Some cast members also resisted the strict vintage wardrobe, which could be uncomfortable or not insulating enough for the cool nighttime shooting. The studio had to negotiate these issues, reassuring actors that precise details were essential to recreate the ambiance of 1962. Also, ensuring the correct silhouettes, fabrics, and color palettes could be expensive on a limited budget. The production team scoured thrift shops, costume rentals, and old storage facilities for pieces that accurately depicted the style of the era to keep costs minimal. Number 9. The American Graffiti cast endured a grueling schedule dominated by overnight shoots. Because most of the film is portraying the events of a single evening, the 28 days of filming often began at sunset and continued until dawn. This pushed the young actors to operate on minimal sleep, leaving them genuinely exhausted on camera. Despite the tight timeline, George Lucas insisted on capturing as much real nighttime atmosphere as possible. Street closures and neon lighting setups often took longer than anticipated, dragging out each night's shoot. Some crew members remember scrounging for ways to keep the cast alert, from late-night snacks to quick power naps between takes. This constant fatigue had an unexpected upside, however, as it added a realistic edge to the performances. The characters' bleary eyes and slightly dazed looks felt genuine, underscoring the sense of a single night stretching into the early morning hours. It also forged a bond among the cast, who rallied around each other as they navigated the sleep-deprived chaos. Number 10. There were certainly some rough moments amongst the cast during production, one being that actors sometimes piloted the raw classic cars themselves, increasing the risk of injuries. Paul Le Mat, a former Marine and Vietnam veteran, was known to push himself during these scenes, occasionally picking up bumps and bruises while driving or when leaping in and out of the cramped 32 coupe. Dealing with the teen age group needed for the film presented issues in general too, as real-life heated disputes between cast members occasionally erupted as well. Some involve conflicting personalities clashing during high-pressure moments, with shouting matches or even scuffles breaking out before cooler heads prevailed. Despite these flare-ups, the group largely managed to keep the production rolling. The occasional bruised egos and scuffed knuckles were overshadowed by a shared commitment to making an authentic and memorable film. In the end, the bonds they forged through these early dust-ups would help galvanize the cast and crew, ensuring American Graffiti emerged as a true cult classic. Well, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here. You guys are all great. See you next time.